Wow, another good one. 10 fragrances that suck in terms of performance. Yeah, it's pretty harsh, but it's kind of the reality here with some of these. I get it for some, others not so much, but I took to you guys again and asked for fragrances that perform like crap on your skin, because this whole hobby is already very subjective when it comes to scent, and performance is a whole different ballgame, and it can be a little bit tough to find something that works for everybody. In fact, it's impossible. There's going to be some things that work good on some, not good on others. You're never going to find something that has a 100% success rate, and we just kind of have to accept that. But there are definitely fragrances out there that are known for having poor performance, and a good amount ended up in here. Let's go and just start right off the bat. We're going to start with the least amount of votes first and work our way up to the most. So starting off, I guess, at number 10 here, it would be Prada Luna Rosa Ocean, newest from Prada, at least the Luna Rosa line. Scent-wise, it's great. Performance-wise, apparently it doesn't do so well according to the voters here. I don't get terrible performance out of it. It's about what I would expect. Not a beast mode scent, not super loud, but also not a super weak scent on me either. It gets the job done. Do I wish it performed better? Yeah, probably, but you know, for me it still works. But for a lot of you guys out there, it seems to not be the case. And also the scent itself can be a little bit polarizing. You know, it's one of the more basic ones, right? It's going to be more of a trendy modern release. Nothing new or exciting here. I like it though. It's got iris mixing with some other kind of fruity citrus notes. It's fresh, but also a little bit sweet. Kind of a nice summer rendition here, while kind of taking a bit of a different approach. So you got to give them some credit, but at the same time, yes, it is still going to be familiar. Number 9, we have Mont Blanc Legend. So just the original Legend Eau de Toilette. I mean, when you take a look at all of the big fragrance lines from big designer brands, and you take a look at the first fragrance from the line, the Pioneer, usually going to be an eau de toilette like this, haven't they all been watered down and reformulated to sin by now, to where if you kind of look at the trend here, you'll see that as well. It happens, whether it be intentional or not. Sometimes I'm sure it's out of greed, but other times they're forced to reformulate stuff due to the new regulations being put in place. Look at the most recent example that they actually went public with, YSL Eau de Toilette. It's being reformulated due to new restrictions. So instead of them not saying anything about it and just letting it go under the radar like most brands do, and like YSL has done many times before, they're actually re-releasing YEDT this year, 2022, due to that reform. So it's just something that happens. You can't really get around it. And so whether that's necessarily the case here with Legend or not, it's not really a good performer. It's not known for it. Now this one can get away with it a little bit more given the price point. $25, $30 online on discounters. When you take a YSL or a Chanel or a Dior, that higher price point and that lower performance, that's where it really starts to get more challenging. But for 30 bucks, it's not the end of the world. All right, number 8, we've got John Varvatos Artisan, the Eau de Toilette, the pioneer of the line. You guys see the trend already here somewhat. With this one, though, of course, John Varvatos, not known for performance, never has been. I don't own any Beast Mode John Varvatos, and I own Beast Mode fragrances from probably about every major designer brand out there. Really, I mean, really for the most part, all of them, especially the more kind of expensive ones, but even some of the cheaper ones as well, they will all have at least a handful or a couple of strong performers that kind of really fill that role. John Varvatos, they do not. They just don't. They haven't fixed that over the years. I don't think they're ever going to. The new Artisan Teal is not a good performer on my skin. They're going in the opposite direction. Artisan XX, though, the vetiver one, silver bottle, that one actually does decent on me. And a couple others, decent, but not great. And I agree here. The original Artisan, it's not a good performer, but it smells divine. It's orangey, citrusy, aromatic, very special scent, very bright, very uplifting. And for the couple hours that it sticks around, it's very blissful. Number 7, a niche fragrance here, and actually it's the only niche one in the video. It's Milsim Imperial by Creed, and agree, you know, it is not a good performer. Now this is more glorified than what I was just saying a minute ago about designer brands, YSL, Dior, Chanel, harder for them to get away with it. Now imagine a brand like Creed, where at retail you're fetching close to $500 by the time it's all said and done with tax and all of the other fees that are thrown in on top of this. And for something that performs like this, that is crazy. Luckily, if you want this, you don't have to pay retail. You can get it at reputable discounters for less money than that, but still expensive. And it still begs the question, you know, what's up with that? And who knows, really? I don't. Creed doesn't care. They're making millions, so, you know, it's kind of whatever for them. But it's true, not a good performer here, never has been on me. At one point I did have an older batch, and forgive me, I can't remember the name. I've done a couple videos on it. I was comparing it to a Parfums vintage version. Very melon heavy though, and that one actually was a decent performer on my skin. This one here is starting to wear off, but I believe it's a 2016 batch. Yeah, it's another wonderful thing about Creeds. Their lot numbers, if they're in ink, will just disappear into nothingness. I mean, all this bottle does is sit there on the shelf 99% of the time, and yet the ink still just vanishes into thin air. I'm going 16C01. I'm almost positive, I bet money it's a 2016 batch, which is old now, but even when I got it, back in the day when it was new, it still wasn't performing that good, so I can only imagine how they are now. Number 6, we have Dolce Gabbana Light Blue. This is the eau de toilette that this commenter was referring to here. And yeah, you know, true story for me. Have I even sprayed this? I guess I haven't. Did you see that? I think I literally just picked this up for show because, well, you know, you kind of have to have light blue, right? I talk about all the other ones that have all of the other ones except for the original. Same trend. The eau de toilette, the head honcho, the foundation of the line. This is it, light blue. Everything else was built off of this. And it also happens to now be the weakest. It happens. It's a common thing, man. Smells fantastic up in the air. And so my advice for you is skip this one. Go for Eau Intense or even something like Light Blue Forever if you want a bit of a challenge. But if you don't want a challenge, Light Blue Sun is still okay. Maybe a couple others that are going to be better performing. But really, I would say mass appeal-wise with good performance, go Eau Intense. If you want something a bit different, Forever/Italian Love would be the way to go. We're still not looking at beast mode fragrances here, but better than the EDT. Just kind of how it is. Now, breaking into 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, we have Chanel Allure Homme Sport Extreme. Yeah. So I actually don't have this experience with this fragrance. Now, I went down the rabbit hole big time. I have a buddy in the FragCom who somehow has a complete pile of Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme bottles that are old, that are the eau de toilette concentration. If you guys know what I'm talking about, this underwent a change, a reformulation, a concentration change. Back in the day, they switched everything over to eau de parfum, basically, in this line for the most part, except for a couple. But it was an eau de toilette at one point. And then, you know, what they were saying was that the eau de toilette was stronger than the EDP, which is kind of backwards. But long story short, I have a lot of different batches or versions, and I get good performance from all of them. I'm lucky in that regard. Now, it's more of a difference in scent for me in terms of the different batches, like the eau de toilette older bottles, a little bit more rich. The newer EDPs still smell fantastic, but you can tell scent-wise a little bit of a variation. However, performance is still, on my skin, it's really good. Lasts on clothing for a very long time. Lasts on skin for a respectable amount of time. Easily gets me through a day with very heavy, strong forward projection within the first few hours of applying it, especially with some heat if you're sweating, if it's hot outside. So, you know, for me it works. For others it doesn't. It's kind of a skin chemistry thing. Number 4. Okay, I got to make sure I watch what I'm doing. Yeah, number 4 is a fragrance that I don't have anymore. It's Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct Blue. Now, this got 8 votes, and like I said, I don't have it anymore. Can't even really remember what it smells like. I'm going to be honest with you. First Instinct EDT, really good. First Instinct Extreme, really good. Everything else, no. no thank you. And I think all that's left is Blue and Together. Am I correct there? Both of those are forgettable. Both are not for me. Don't care for them. I don't have either of them. I think I gave away my Together bottle, or just I don't have it anymore. I don't think I do. And the Blue bottle, I don't know where it is. If you're getting First Instinct, get the EDT or the Extreme if you can. Those two are phenomenal, playful summertime fragrances, and for the price, especially the EDT, performance is respectable. The Extreme price has gone up, but it does perform good as well. Amazing scents. So I don't remember how First Instinct Blue performed on me, so I can't comment on that personally, but it wouldn't surprise me that it maybe doesn't do so hot. Okay, number 3, we have Dior Homme Cologne with 13 votes. So absolutely no surprise at all for me. No surprise. I mean, it doesn't perform good on anybody, and that's just how it is. I mean, you take a look at this, and more importantly, you take a sniff of this. It is composed of citrus components, and that's it. Citrus and musk. That's it, right? There's nothing else going on. Here's the thing. If they made this fragrance last longer by extending out the base, you would just be left with musk at the end of the day. It would just fade off, all the citrus would go away, and then, oh, it's just musk. That's no fun. Then it doesn't smell like Dior Homme Cologne anymore. I think if they had a way to make this good performing, I think they would have done so by now. And there are lots of niche fragrances out there, and even designers that are citrus-based that perform better. This one, they've never done it. You know, if I can get 5 hours out of it after a good heavy spraying on myself, then I'm feeling good. For me, this is more of a morning fragrance to kickstart my day, especially you know, an early spring, early summer morning. It's kind of one of those things where when I smell it, it reminds me of applying the fragrance and then going out and like sitting on the front porch or something with the sun coming up. Maybe you've got coffee, or maybe it's a bit later on in the afternoon and you have some, you know, sweetened iced tea or not iced tea, sweetened lemonade, because it kind of has that lemonade smell to it. It's kind of what it's all about for me. Just a personal fragrance, one that I wear just because it just brings good memories to me. Not even memories necessarily, but just good, happy thoughts of what I would want to be doing, what I think about when I smell this fragrance. And, you know, for me, I love it. Great scent, perfect for summertime, but yeah, not a good performer. Number 2, another one that is pretty much universally known as a bad performer, Dolce Gabbana The One, Eau de Toilette / Eau de Parfum. I believe this commenter put both in. You would be correct on that front that neither of them do good. Really not at all. Now, there's an argument behind this that I could go into, or a point rather that I could go into, but I'm not going to. But I do know and I do agree that, yeah, these don't perform good. I will admit, I do have some 2015 bottles of the One EDP. That's when the year that was launched, and they perform better than my newer ones. So I can confirm that. I actually went down a crazy hunt, and I was able to find a bunch of 2015, 2016 bottles of the One EDP. So now I've got a lifetime supply of that version where it actually performs okay. 2017 and beyond, I just haven't found I've gotten the best performance out of, and that's what people are going to be buying nowadays, right? When you go to the store, whether it be discounters or retail, it's going to be new. It's not going to perform good, but it's just how it is. You got to apply this stuff heavily to get it to work anymore, which sucks. You know, still an amazing, sexy date night fragrance, but people do get frustrated by the performance, rightfully so. If you're paying retail, you're looking at $80, which I don't recommend you do, but a lot of people do. So you've got 80, 90 bucks down the drain for something that doesn't perform. And even when you're paying at discounters, what, sometimes 55, 60, 65 for 100 mil for the EDP, and it's still not performing good. It is a letdown. Now to the number 1. This commenter basically said that it broke his heart that it's the number 1. And me too, dude. Me too. Because when I hold this bottle up, you guys know what this is for me. It's L'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. This one got the most votes too. 29, which surprised me because, yeah, of course it doesn't perform good. But I mean, when you look at some of the other more popular ones in here that are more trendy nowadays, like the Chanel, even like Creed Milsim Imperial, you know, I don't know, maybe a couple others. You know, I would have thought those would have gone higher. But no, man, L'Homme won by a long shot. And it breaks my heart, too. One of my favorite fragrances of all time. I need to spray it. It's this nice apple orchard, warm, spicy, gentlemanly fragrance. that just brings me to the best possible place I can imagine when I smell it. Love it. Doesn't perform good. I went down on eBay and I tracked down an older bottle, 62L303. I don't remember what year that ended up coming out to be. Not super old. Couldn't find anything really all that old at all. But I did pay more than normal to get something at least a little bit older to try to combat that. But even still, it's not a beast mode performer. It does have more richness, though, than a newer bottle that I had previously. Love the scent so much. But yeah, it doesn't perform, like, at all. Okay, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances that have terrible, crappy performance, according to you guys. You know, for the most part here, I agree. The only one that I disagree with, or at least that I do get good performance from, would be, I guess, the Chanel. I actually wore this the other day. I think I wore it on Easter, believe it or not, for our Easter events. Sprayed it on in the morning before we left. It was on my skin in the evening when we got home. Got home at about 8 o'clock, so it did really well for me that day. And it was on my clothing as well, which kind of helps that also. Other than that, yeah, all these other ones here, not so good. That being said, though, I'm not trashing any of these fragrances, obviously. I don't think any of you guys really are either. Scent-wise, we're not. They all smell great, but performance-wise, yeah, they do kind of lack there. So I will provide links to these down below if you do want to pick them up. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.